All right, today is Wednesday, August 8th, 2018. This is the meeting of the Kubernetes CSI implementation group. First up in the agenda is reviewing the V112 tasks that we're working on at the moment. After that, we're going to discuss some PRs that currently need attention, and then any bugs that this group is tracking, followed by miscellaneous updates. So for the V112 tasks, we have first up, Cubelet device plugin registration mechanism. I know Sergey and Vlad, you guys were having a lot of discussion about this over the past couple of days. Any updates?
We haven't come to a, well, you also kind of chimed in, but we haven't come to a concrete solution for the proxy solution, which is what we were discussing. And then I guess the other thing we need to look at is the E2E that has not been done. So once we agree on a proxy solution, which may be to just leave it as is, and then document it, then we'll focus on the E2E solution. And then circle back with the Renault and team to figure out where they are with, I think there might be some changes that we need to keep track of to make sure we implement them as well.
Okay. Cool. Sounds like solid progress there. CSI cluster driver registry, I'm still working on the proposal. Hopefully have something out by end of day. New node status field for CSI drivers. I saw Jan sent out a proposal. Jan, do you want to say anything about that, or?
I was at SIG node yesterday, and of course they don't like that the node is getting bigger, and they could prefer different solution, but in the end, they said that the size of the node is a problem of etcd or API server, not their problem. And if I get approval from API and from architecture, then they could consider it. They will review the PR anyway.
Okay.
So I will go tomorrow to the SIG architecture. Cross your fingers.
Fingers crossed.
So I think one good argument that we have going is that there is a concrete plan to reduce the size of the node object. I was talking to Mike Toffin, and he said what they plan to do is move the node heartbeat into a separate object, and apparently that causes the biggest increase in size of object, because every time there's a status update, a new copy of the node object is stored. And since the heartbeat happens every 10 seconds, that means every 10 seconds a new copy of the node object is stored in etcd. And
wow.
So by moving that into a separate object, the heartbeat, they're going to be able to considerably reduce the size of the node object, and so things like this will become less of a problem.
Cool.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot for following up on that, Jan. You have very
Saad, in anticipation of the SIG node review or the SIG art, is there anything we can do to like back channel with them guys and get their minds thinking about this and okay with it before we actually go and present?
That would be a good idea. I know the big people that are in that meeting are Brian Grant and Joe Beta, a couple of other people. If you can get their time somehow, that would be worth it, but getting their time is difficult.
Could you like bump into them on the hallway or something and be like, hey?
Yeah, if I run into them, I'll definitely do that.
Okay.
It's easier for me to grab Tim than it is to grab Brian, but if I do run into either of them, I'll mention it.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Next up is support for ephemeral local volumes do not require attach operation. Looks like Jan has been very productive and has a proposal out for that as well.
Well, I don't have a proposal because I need to refer to proposal for the driver register.
Right.
If we don't have, but I have something. When everything works, then it's pretty straightforward. There are not too big changes required.
Nice.
Problems are with updating and downgrading. So if I have alpha feature for this and somebody disables it, then Kubernetes should somehow create volume attachments for the volumes that are already attached. That are already mounted, but didn't require attach before. And that's becoming interesting. And the same way, enabling the feature. If there was a cluster with volume attachments for every volume, now I enable the feature and restart the cluster, and something should delete the unnecessary volume attachments. And to be honest, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I have a question. So this work is this for external? No.
No, this will be internal in Cubelet and attach controller.
Oh, this is for the controller itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think upgrade story should be straightforward if you're going from attach to attach. That's not a problem because old behavior, new behavior is fine. Attach to no attach means that you need to upgrade your Kubernetes to the version that supports no attach, and then you need to deploy a new driver that supports no attach. And then downgrade from attach to attach, no issue. Downgrade from no attach to attach, you're going to end up in a failed state because your attach operation is going to start getting called and you have no attach operation, so it gets stuck. I think that is okay because what that means is that your driver that supports no attach only is compatible with a certain version of Kubernetes and higher. If you go to a lower version of Kubernetes, that functionality doesn't exist. It doesn't work. That's okay.
The drivers don't require attach already.
Right.
But you just create the dummy attacher that does nothing and confirms that the volume is attached.
Yep.
So the drivers are not involved anywhere in the picture.
Right. But the plugin author is responsible for deploying that sidecar that does the no-op today. Yeah. And if they deploy in the future, they don't deploy that sidecar, and then their entire system gets downgraded to a version that requires the sidecar, then it's going to require manual intervention to fix that.
Well, they can keep the sidecar running.
They could, but it's just a waste of resources. I think
they just push a button somewhere to upgrade Kubernetes. They don't care how it's upgraded.
What's that?
They will just push buttons somewhere to upgrade Kubernetes. They won't be aware that they have to do anything with the CSI drivers and attachers. So they will keep the attacher running probably.
Oh, so you're saying for attach to no attach, today there is a no-op container, and in the future they're going to continue to run it. They're not going to know that this functionality exists?
Yeah, probably.
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a valid concern, but it'll remain operable. Things will continue to work. And if they get upset and say, why do I have to run this? We say, oh, yeah, there's a feature. You can use this.
But
yeah, sure.
Should we even... No, what I was going to say, should we even be entertaining supporting a downgrade of going from either attach, no attach, or no attach to attach? Because doesn't that mean we're changing drivers?
Yeah, yeah.
The driver is the same. The driver if I have NFS driver, it doesn't require attach today. It's the installation in Kubernetes that requires attacher.
I see. So this is more of not the driver capability, but the way we have it today and moving forward.
Yeah, okay. So we will think about it. In the worst case, it will be manual.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for alpha feature, maybe. I don't know. And another thing there I found, what should be the default behavior? If I enable the feature and there is no entry in the registry for the CSI driver, what should
Correct.
happen
So
then?
default
Should I do
behavior,
attach or not?
default behavior is attach. So basically, if you have drivers today, they should continue to function as is without having to do anything special.
Well, that means that if I install a new driver and forget to create the CRD,
yes,
then I get volume attachments
yes,
created and get broken, basically.
Yep. Basically, the idea is that the default behavior, you get the full everything that Kubernetes knows how to do. And if you don't want that, then you create a registry item that says, oh, I don't want this or I don't want that. I want this customized subset.
Okay, so if I want to enable this feature, I need to create a CRD first. So the future Kubernetes will know, and then I enable the feature. So when it's enabled, Kubernetes already knows what to do and keeps attached, for example.
Yep.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Cool.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Suggestion. The title of what's on the screen right now, it says support for ephemeral local volume. For attachment and for attach and no attach, it's not necessarily ephemeral because, again, you can have something like NSF, right?
Oh, sure, absolutely. This feature can be used by non-ephemeral, but the primary driver for it is these weird ephemeral drivers.
Okay, because it kind of threw me off when I saw that. I'm like, well, is that what I'm working on? Okay.
Yeah, no. It's you can definitely use it for other use cases, like your NFS example is a perfect example of that.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right. Next up is inline volume support. Vlad, any updates on this?
So I've basically just started to digest the current proposal. Okay. I don't have anything concrete just yet.
Okay. I know you were thinking about how you can pick up this PR and start modifying from Jan's.
Yeah, I've already talked to Jan offline, and they added me already as a contributor to that particular to his branch.
Perfect.
So as soon as I have anything to add, I'll start pushing against his PR, and then we can take it from there.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you. Next up is passing workload information. Don't expect anything on this since it's waiting on the cluster registry as well.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll make sure to get the cluster registry out as soon as possible.
How is this dependent on cluster registry to pass the workload information?
Jan,
do you want to explain?
I expect that the registry will have a flag if the driver should pass, if Kubernetes should pass the workload to the driver or not. So when somebody installs the driver, he says that he doesn't require attach and please pass the information and not publish.
Yeah, but the workload, are we not pursuing workload information also at the CSI spec level?
I would like to drop that.
Oh, okay.
It hits so much resistance that.
Okay. I didn't realize.
I find it easier to do it on Kubernetes side only.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize you were dropping on the spec side. So okay.
So yeah, basically a flag that'll specify if workload information is required. If it is, then Cubelet sees it and it passes it in as a parameter.
To the CSI driver?
To the,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, on the node publish call to the CSI driver, it just sticks in an extra volume attribute.
Oh, okay. So it won't be a standalone attribute like we were showing. Okay.
Right.
So Vlad, if you look at my proposal, it suggests a new gRPC interface between Cubelet and driver registrar and such things. So this is now obsolete.
Okay.
And you will get the flag if you should pass the pull information from the registry.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll take a look because I remember the last time we discussed it was going to be supported at the CSI side. But if not, then okay.
Okay. Next up is topology support for Kubernetes to CSI. Cheng, do you want to give an update here?
Yeah, so I was able to fix the bug for driver registrar, and that unblocks me from getting the topology information, and I'll be able to like get the topology label into the node object and all that. At the same time, on the external provisioner side, I was able to code up a basic prototype and going through like testing that, getting everything running and making sure all dependencies are rendered correctly. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Cool. Sounds like solid progress.
I have a comment here. I'm trying to introduce the topology in no status in one of my proposals. And I was thinking, we do that just because CSI doesn't describe that all nodes must behave the same topology keys, right? And in theory, they can have different keys. So could we put some constraint? If you want to run your CSI driver on Kubernetes, then all the nodes must use the same topology key. Could save some work.
We entertained that idea. I think we Saad and I and Michelle discussed offline. We were able. We can essentially. What we're going to do is choose the node. We're going to pick a node depending on the circumstance, and use that as the source of truth for topology keys.
So does it mean you don't store it in the node status or annotation or any?
We're planning to store the keys in node status, and it's possible that each node has a different set of topology keys. We're just gonna we're gonna recommend that everybody stores the same keys across the cluster, but it's not a strict.
Well, can we just require that, at least in the initial implementation, that all the keys are the same? Because I can't imagine a driver that has different keys for different nodes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm not sure how easy it is to push through the CSI spec, though.
Well, it doesn't need to be in CSI. It can be in Kubernetes. Like if you want to run Kubernetes, CSI driver on Kubernetes, then you must sure that you use the same keys everywhere.
Then we're kind of like not supporting the CSI spec to its entirety, right? Like if the create volume call in the CSI spec dictates that it's possible technically for the drivers to report different keys.
Okay.
Then as a CO, it will be if we want to like strictly follow it, you know.
Okay, that's.
But does it make sense though, or should CSI be amended?
I think I can't see a case where it would be keys would be different, but I think it's still workable to not have that constraint.
Yeah, it is. Just too much work for very little benefit.
Yeah. I think initially Chang went to the CSI group and tried to get this change, right, Chang?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
remember.
think I was I pushed for this explicitly.
What was the change that was it you or Michelle? Somebody was pushing a change for topology.
There was another change where I proposed to have get topology keys, and there was a lot of resistance there.
Right. Okay.
That was one of the main reasons why we decided to go with the per node approach.
Yep. Yeah. So I think in general, it'll be painful to get it pushed through CSI. We can try. We want to keep CSI and Kubernetes, at least Kubernetes, to be not violate the CSI spec if we can avoid it. And I think the workarounds that Chang has come up with are able to work with this constraint. So we don't have a huge motivation to try and get rid of this requirement. If we discover that there is a big blocker, then we can pursue it again.
I mean, we could try to push for just the requirement that all the keys are the same across nodes, without having gate topology, like a single cluster level gate topology keys call. But then on our side, on Kubernetes side, the provisioner still has to iterate through all the nodes to get that topology key. So I'm not sure if we can save any work there. We can probably save some work, but maybe not as much as we think. I think, it's given that we can't get the cluster level call, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Well, the provisioner runs on a node, so it would ask the node for the keys, and then you have all the keys.
Yep, that is true. It's also it will also be the same as the current scheme of picking a node and asking that node for keys.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we'll mark that as in progress. Raw block support. Vlad, any updates on this one? Vlad, are you there?
Sorry, I was talking on mute.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a list of inventory of bugs that I have and improvements, and I am slowly getting some internal helps to kind of help out. But I'll update the documentation too, so we can track those bugs. If they get done this quarter or next, so we'll make sure they get done this quarter or next.
Okay. And finally, we have mount namespace propagation to GA. Brad, were you able to find anyone for this work?
I did. I sent him an email a couple minutes ago. So this should be fine.
Awesome. Do you have a name that we want to put down, or?
Fabio.
Fabio.
Poor Fabio.
He'll enjoy it, I'm sure. With the mentoring of Mr. Janssen Fronic.
Yeah, exactly. I have to teach him everything.
Oh, he's getting his feet, man. I think he could probably carry this most of the way himself.
He's smart.
All right, good.
Yeah, Fabio from OpenStack?
No. Fabio from Red Hat.
No, I mean like, yeah, Venezuelan Italian guy.
No, this one is Brazilian with Italian ancestors.
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like we're good on the items that are currently in progress. PRs that need attention. Fix for wrong node ID and kubelet registration mechanism. This was blocking Cheng, and it looks like he's got a fix in. Can someone please take a look at this and see if we can get it merged? Sergey, possibly, if he's on the call, since he's most familiar with it. Otherwise, Vlad or I can also take a look at it. And this is within Kubernetes core.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's the discussion we had the other day. Okay.
Yeah, basically, we were setting the wrong value for the node name.
I'll take a look at it. Is it in the document?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at it.
Thanks, Vlad.
Sure.
Next up is docs PR to be merged.
Yeah, this is not urgent at all. Just
Okay.
Usability improvement for the documentation.
Nice.
I'll take a look at that.
Perfect. I'm curious if next up is the snapshots PR needs reviews. This is from Xing.
Yeah, so our PRs are ready. Just want to get some more people to review. So the APIs have been reviewed by a few people. The controller PR has not been reviewed at all.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one looks huge, but most of those are generated files. Yeah, so.
And controller needs Anybody want to sign up to take a look at the snapshots PR?
I'll peruse through it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Right. So lots of work in progress. In the meantime, we also have bugs that we're fixing. CSI test bug issue is that CSI test client is disconnecting. There is a PR out. Luis, do you want to talk about this?
Yes. I discussed it in the WGCSI channel with the author, and I asked him to work with Poly to make sure that the PR is correct, because it's kind of also breaking Poly's work. So because Poly's work was the one that brought in the bunch of changes, but it had the bug. So I asked them, both of them, to work together.
Okay. Sounds good to me. I was noticing that CSI test was broken for a while. Is that taken care of?
I don't know when.
I think it was when I had a PR out and it was red. I guess it's green at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. If you let me know if you
All
see
right,
it.
cool. I will poke you if I see that. So I'll leave this as work in progress for now then.
Yeah, it's up to them. So I'll keep pinging them.
Okay.
Hi, Luis, I have a quick question on testing.
Yeah.
So to add tests for snapshot,
Yeah.
I think we have already added
Yeah.
like cowork added the CSI test, right, for snapshot.
Yes.
And so in addition to that, just the unit tests need to be added in our external snapshotter repo, right? That's it, right?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But we don't have any end-to-end test to test the controllers yet, do we?
All of them together.
Yeah, we don't have those, right?
We have an end-to-end test in Kubernetes.
Oh.
So
okay.
if you want to add snapshot testing, you can add it there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll take a look.
Yep.
Okay.
That would be a very good idea. I'd say definitely do that.
Okay. I'll take a look. Thanks.
Next up is scaling issues. Anybody want to give a summary of this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Matt Wong. How's it going, Matt?
Yeah. Hi. I'm basically done with it, the code. I just need to fix my tests, and then I'll tag something, and then y'all can pull it in.
So do you want to give maybe a quick high-level overview of what the issues were and what you fixed, and if there's anything still outstanding? I think somebody gave an update here saying that we might need a larger refactor in order to address some issues. I wanted to see if that was still the case.
Sure. So before it was locking every PVC, which is no good when there's like 100 created at once. So instead of that, we're just going to go the conventional way, which is to have one controller running at a time, and just copy the typical leader election code where it like writes to an endpoint object. And then, so I guess the reason they said there's a bigger refactor is because there's a lot of code that can be deleted if we move to that conventional way. So I just like deleted all the code. And yeah, I guess the only kind of like outstanding thing is that because we're moving to this way, everyone using this library is going to need a new RBAC rule, because now they need to write to an endpoints object. But yeah, that's all.
Okay, and there is in the Kubernetes core a place where RBAC rules and bindings can be specified, and there's one for external provisioner. So maybe open up an issue to get that updated to add this RBAC rule for endpoints.
Sure, I'm not sure anyone's using that, but okay.
Let's update external. Binding to allow. All right, and then another issue that I heard about was if a ton of okay, so I guess the main issue was if a ton of create volume calls come in at the same time, basically a bunch of PVCs are created, then what was happening was the PV or the Cube API server was getting overwhelmed with the number of requests. And it looks like the reason for that is because the way that it was acquiring locks was based on per PVC, which would result in a ton of calls to the Cube API server. And since you remove that code and locking is just on the endpoint object, that will reduce the number of calls to the API server, so it should prevent that issue from happening. Is there anything else that we can do? Do we need to introduce things like thread pools or anything like that?
No, I also add work queues, so that should fix that. So like the threadiness and whatever should be configurable.
And the work queues are configurable as a parameter option when you start the binary?
It's a what is it, a parameter to the when you call that new controller function. And
okay, so maybe we want to expose it as a flag that can be controlled on the external provisioner binary in case somebody wants to run more or less. All right, cool. Sounds like you've got it under control. So thank you for all your hard work here. Anything else you want to add or discuss?
Nope.
Okay. If you need any help reviewing, please reach out. And it looks like Vlad, you're on the hook for reviewing some of these PRs.
Okay. I do have just one question for Matt. Did you end up making any changes to, I believe there's like a base controller that was used to create the external controllers for the provisioner and the I think it was just a provision. I don't remember exactly. Did you end up changing any of that code? Do you remember?
I don't think so. I didn't catch all of that though. Like
Okay.
you mean the repo under Cube, like CSI? I didn't change anything there.
No, it's I think it's under
External storage.
either external storage or incubator or something like that. I don't remember
This one, I
exactly.
think.
Right. That's where all the changes are, and the only.
Oh, okay. So you did. Okay.
Yeah. So Cube CSI / external provisioner can depend on that, and
Right.
that should be okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Do we need to come up with a better system to manage this external storage repo, since it is a dependency? Maybe we should have like proper releases for it and have those.
Yeah, because it's permeating through a bunch of stuff now.
Yeah.
At least 2 things.
Yes, I think so, because all I do is tag it when I feel like it, and nobody complains. So if nobody complains, I don't know any better.
Right.
Okay, so that's a to-do as well. To come up with a proper release process for. Sorry, go ahead.
No, the question I was going to ask is it now that it's going to be part of Kubernetes or CSI 1.0, is it still considered incubating? Should that be moved?
So I think Brad, there was a item to get this sucker moved into its own repo, right?
Yes, there was.
Maybe we can get that process going, and along with that.
We just want the library, right? We want to put the library in its own repo.
Yep. All right, cool. So lots of good work going on there. Anything else anybody wants to discuss about that? All right, moving on. CSI incorrectly sets FS group. Vlad, I feel like all the items are assigned to you today. Feel free to push back and say I have too much on my plate and we need to balance.
Sure. Yeah, this one is I've already kind of heading in that direction. I just need to sit down and get it done and get pushed. But because it's a bug, I think this probably should be a P, possibly a P0 for this quarter, maybe.
Okay.
As opposed to some of the other bugs that I was discussing earlier, those probably can wait.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. And whenever you have an update, let us know. And it sounds like the second part of that is going to be it's related to this, so anticipate that they'll be handled together. I put in a miscellaneous item here, why is CSI test red, but it looks like it's not red right now. So I guess we're okay there. I also thought that the driver's repo was red, but I'll need to take another look at that. My other question was, do we really need the CSI Kubernetes resources repo? It seems pretty unnecessary to me. I talked to Luis offline and he said we might be able to get rid of it. We can discuss that offline. And I think we lost Luis, so we're not going to be able to get an update on the internal documentation for updates. That's all that I have today. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about? All right, great. We will reconvene on Friday. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.